Good morning, America. I'm Devin Walker,
I'm Ashley Pren.
and we are coming to you pre-recorded with a Week 6 preview and a Week 5 recap of the NFL football. You know, we got a lot of things going on this week. We had a lot of things going on last week. We're going to get right into it because there's too much to talk about and there's too much money to be made because once again, as predicted, my live alert hits and saves my week. And without it, I would have been the worst gambler in the United States. But with it, I'm middle of the road. We're going to get into that and so much more right now on the Betsies pod. Am I allowed to say good morning, America?
Yeah, why not?
I feel like
like
it's
a trademark
trademarked.
thing?
I feel like it's trademarked. But you want to know what? We're going to roll with it. And if
Yeah.
they want to sue me, take me to court. All right? Literally take me to court. Whoever owns Good Morning America. It's probably Michael Jackson. He owns everything else. Moving on to NFL football week 6. Okay. Last week I pretended to like the slate and I didn't, and that's on me. Even though I came like so close to going undefeated. But that's what happens when you put long odds parlays in. You usually get snake bit if you don't take your payout options, which of course I did not do because I'm not a pussy. That was a tough week, but this week I'm obsessed with the slate. I feel amazing about it. And thanks again to my live alert pick. I still have some units in the bank that I can deploy this weekend. And I plan on it. Let's just get right into it because there was one game that ruined a few things for me. And I should have listened to my co-host, and I didn't listen to my co-host. And the Bills went over to England, which turns out does provide a bit of jet lag because they were abysmal in the first quarter. And the Jags just beat the brakes off one of the leaders in the AFC. Pren, how'd you see that coming?
As someone that travels a ton, it really does take a toll on you. When you go from one continent, sure, yeah, country
No,
to another.
yep. Well, they are continents. We're in North
Yeah, yes,
America, and
we're
then
yep,
England's in Europe. So it's
yeah,
both. It's
that's
countries
2 of
and
7.
continents.
Yeah,
Yep.
we got it. When you go from one to another, the elevation, you've gotta go higher than usual, and I actually watched this game on a plane, 6 a.m. on a flight,
Wow.
dialed in, and, yeah, and the other thought process too is that I don't think the Jags would have agreed to playing 2 back-to-back games in
Mhm.
London if they weren't going to have some sort of competitive advantage. Roger Goodell had the pick, the fix, and, um, don't sue me, NFL, if we're on, like, the suing train this morning, but I
Lots
just
of lawsuits happening on the Betsy's pod
lots of
today.
lawsuits. Yeah, I don't know. I had a gut feeling, and I went with it, and the Bills had a humbling game, and the Jags came out on top. Andy Dick won. So,
Andy Dick looked outstanding. I mean, if that's not his Halloween costume, I don't know what is. Quick tangent I want to go on. I want to let everybody know I'm being the apparently kid for Halloween. We are going to do a Halloween episode. So, Pren, you're going to have to start thinking about your costume. If you don't know who the apparently kid is, um, I think his name is Noah Ritter, and he's a little red-haired kid that had a really funny kind of live TV performance and kind of parlayed that into being an Ellen show regular. So I'll be the apparently kid. We don't know who. Maybe you can be the I like turtles kid.
ooh, that'd be a fun one.
That's pretty good. So just keep that,
Internet sensations only. Yeah.
internet sensations only. We don't know who Mike's going to be yet, but we'll figure it out. Anyways, back to football. Let's recap these bets here. We kind of got started there. The Bills money line killed my 5-way teaser. All I needed them to do was win the game. I took them down from 6 to even, and they absolutely blew it. So I was all but one there. And in a similar situation, In the quad dog parlay, Texans take the lead with 2 minutes left, and Desmond Ritter leads a game-winning drive. Didn't see that one coming. Didn't love that at all because the Steelers win, the Jets win, and the Raiders win. And I was right there,
Yeah.
on my girl
Yeah.
dinner bet. I was right there in the quad dog. It was plus 21-32. I was sweating that game. And it's just too bad because the Raiders were an absolute lock. I knew that coming into this one. And then, I also had the Eagles and the Jets lined up, and the Commanders blew it. So I am so close. And one of the strategies you may want to do if you want to tail my bets, and I think that you should, is take out whatever game I'm the most confident in. Get rid of that. This week it's the Broncos. We'll get into that. I, I don't want to spoil the pod, but I'm back to the Broncos.
He's back.
I'm all the way back. We're gonna get into that as well. But the Bills over also missed. So, my third best bet, it wasn't there. Moral of the story is I was 0 for 3. And 0 for 4 if you count the girls' dinner bet. The Bills over probably should have hit. It didn't. The Commanders' money line was never close. They stink. I am on them this week too. Don't ask me why. And the Jets, we had the Jets dialed. We both had the Jets dialed. So you actually won some money,
I did.
which was nice to see. And you also got
did.
by a few games. You love a player prop.
I love a player prop. I do. So this week I feel like was the first week in the NFL where the 1 p.m. game witching hour actually turned into something. I feel like a lot of these games over the last couple of weeks, we've been able to see where they're going to land, which is making live betting incredibly lucrative. But the witching hour, 1 p.m. witching hour really fucked me. And it got you too, because I did tail your quad dog bet. And I was
Yeah.
watching that game, and the Steelers took the lead, and the Texans took the lead, and then the Texans blew it.
Yeah.
But if we're recapping my bets, so cash Jags money line for plus 210. Um, if if you were following my first and prime takes of last week, and you were live betting the over for this game, at one point the line was at 30, I want to say, to bet over. It was incredibly low because they were in a stalemate for like 2 hours
Right.
straight there where no one scored. And then
Yeah.
at the end, it went right up. So I personally didn't take that live bet because I was on a plane. My Wi-Fi was going in and out. But if you listened to me and you felt confident about the over in that game, the game over, and you live bet it, you won some money. So at least I got that bet. It's the only one I won of the week.
We'll take
Vikings,
that.
we'll take it. We'll take it. A win is a win. The Vikings, I don't even want to say that the Vikings fucked me because they didn't. It was the refs. The Chiefs are constantly getting bailed out. That's a fact. So I don't consider it, that's what we like to call on this podcast, girl math. I don't consider that a loss because my the team that I was riding with didn't
That's
fail
fair.
me. The refs failed me. Niners obviously embarrassed the Cowboys. Didn't get the parlay though because the Vikings did not win. And then my third tracks bet: Cardinals, Eagles, Jets money line. Jets were a lock. Eagles were a lock. The Eagles game, that was a fun game to watch. I really like seeing the Rams in competitive mode. They're a really scrappy team, but Eagles got the win. Cardinals, like Bengals, finally decide to step up after I switched my stance on them. I'm defending Joe Burrow left and right. I give up on him, and all of a sudden, Jamar Chase has 3 touchdowns in one game. He's open. He's always fucking open.
Calling himself
So
7-Eleven is elite self nickname.
yeah,
That's elite self nickname. And then breaking the franchise record for receptions in a game after you say I'm always fucking open is like drop your dick on the table, hammer time, do the dance, wear the baggy pants. You're the man. So that was really nice to see. And it's funny how volatile the NFL is because I mean, it's just like if someone were to make an edit of our takes week to week on this show, I mean, it's a fucking roller coaster, but that's what the league is. And
That's what it is.
it's about predicting whether or not that roller coaster is going to do some corkscrews or fucking go up and down, or you're going through a tunnel, you
Yeah.
get misted.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. You're getting thrown up by the kid in front of you. What's the photo look like when you get out? You're going to buy the photos. You're going to try to take one with your cell phone. There's a lot of moving parts here, right? And I guess what I'm trying to say is we don't know week to week what's going to happen. All we're
Yeah.
attempting to do is predict it. And there's zero consistency in what we're doing here. So I'm back on the Bengals.
I think
Simple
I
as
have
that.
to be too. I think I have to be too. Let's do a little friendly wager right now. The
Mhm.
Bengals game this week is going to be a good one. It's on my live alerts, which we'll get to later. I didn't write down any live alerts. I'm going to riff them off, but it's against the Seahawks, who I am hot on. I love the Seahawks this year. And
Mhm.
I honestly don't know who I want to win more. I'm not going to bet on this flat out. I'm going to live bet it. But if Burrow, it has to be somewhat of a blowout. We can define what a blowout means. Maybe we'll let the audience in the Instagram comments define it. But if the Bengals blow out the Seahawks, I will wear my Big Dick Joe shirt on next
Yeah.
week's TV.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do.
Yeah. So I think a blowout is anything over 2 scores.
Yeah,
So in 16 being still within 2 scores. So because obviously 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions. Now, in
yeah,
the context of a game as well, garbage time touchdowns, those things do generally tend to matter. But if you were just going to look at scores, I think it's 17 or more is a full on ass kicking. And that's usually, I mean, it can be 17 and you win the game by 10, but they scored, with 30 seconds left, and it's just you subs are in, and they're just, in a 2-minute drill with a backup quarterback and kid gets lucky. That happens a lot.
yeah,
Um, I think 3 scores is like you never had a chance.
yeah.
Uh, and so I would say if that's what the bet's going to be, Bengals by 17 or more, Big Dick Joe shirt.
Yep. I think
That's
that's
kind of
fair. I think
that's
that's
kind of
fair.
where I'm at. Yeah.
All right. Lock it in.
Um, Lock it in. You heard it here first. And we're just going to get right into it. We've listened to the viewers. They've said, we didn't come here to listen to you talk about Jamar Chase's giant dong. Okay. We came here to tail your bets. And we're going to get into that before our best bets with everyone's favorite segment. We're going to run the hurry up offense tonight, too. It's first and Pren, and it's happening right now. Yeah. First and Pren, we're back, baby. Real quick before we get into our hurry up offense, I want to throw something out there. Me and Mike talked about this in the pre show. I don't understand why more teams don't do this. You ever seen a team that sucks go into a 2-minute drill similar to what the Atlanta Falcons did this week and just look like world beaters and wonder to yourself, I wonder why more teams that suck don't try to even the playing field by just running the fucking 2-minute drill the entire game. You can't beat this team. They're better than you if you try to play them straight up. You need to look for an edge. And to me, it kind of goes to like coaching ego, where they're just like really stuck in the idea that if they go, helmet on helmet, they can somehow gain an edge here. If you're outmanned, why not try to find an edge in a 2-minute drill where you're forcing no substitutions and you're putting
Yeah.
pressure on the defense and you're potentially tiring them out and you're just letting your guys play backyard football for the most part.
Yeah.
If you're gonna lose, go down swinging is my argument. And I don't know why more people don't do that.
That's a good point. There was a Super Bowl. It was either a Super Bowl or a championship game a couple years ago. I can't remember what it was. It might have been the Rams Bucks NFC championship in 2021, but there was one team that did that. They just kept lining up and lining up and lining up and lining up. And if I'm thinking it correctly, and it was the Rams Bucks, That was probably the reason why we were getting our asses beat 31-3. But some teams do it. It's rare, but it's fun to see.
Like
Yeah,
from the beginning, fuck the run, right? Like everyone's like, we got to establish the run so we can establish the play action pass. How about you establish the pass so that they stop fucking coming after you and they got
yeah,
to drop coverage and then you establish the run. Like
yeah,
throw it in reverse if you're not a very good team, because if you're using the same game script as the other team and they're better than you are going to lose.
yeah.
That's how it plays out. Why not try to win the turnover battle and see if you can get some quick points? That's kind of my take before we get into first and pren. But we're into first and pren. And speaking of the hurry up offense, I'm going to lead us off and I'm going to fucking fly through these things. We're going to try it this way because we didn't do so good in our bets last week. So we're going to switch it up. We're not going to get stuck in our ways. We're not going to be stubborn. So it's first down. And I've got not only a take, but also a bet that goes along with that take.
Mm,
It's first and pren. I've got the ball, and I'm saying this right now. The NFC runs through the Eagles and the 49ers. And all throughout the season, I will be sprinkling on Eagles, 49ers, NFC champs, and Super Bowl champs over and over and over again. Anytime I get some units in there, I'm going to drop a unit on both of these teams. I did this last year with the Chiefs and the Bengals, and it worked out. I'm going to do it again with these two teams. I think they're the best two teams, not only in the NFC, but I think they're the most complete two teams in all of the NFL. And I
yeah.
think without injury, knock on wood, not only does the NFC run through these two teams, but they'll meet in an NFC championship game and the Super Bowl will run through the NFC. I'm looking at the AFC. I'm looking at a Chiefs team that looks unimpressive. I'm looking at a
Hmm.
Bills team that looks unimpressive. I'm looking at a Dolphins team that hinges completely on Tua staying healthy. I don't think he can do that. The Chargers
Yeah.
look terrible. The AFC North is abysmal.
Hmm.
I don't see a team right now in the AFC that can compete with either one of these teams, especially after what we saw both of them do. You know, Eagles get a win over a scrappy Cooper Cup returning Rams team,
Yep.
and the Niners absolutely beat the brakes off the Cowboys. So that's my first down. I think honestly that's probably an 8-yard gain. So we're at second and short here. We're on the ball. We're running right through this. We talked about this a little bit. It's leading into all my bets. I said I would never do it again in week 3. I'm going back to the well. Do not quote me. I can change my mind. I have free will. The NFL has bailed out the Chiefs in back-to-back weeks. People are starting to chirp about it.
That's
There
true.
was 3 penalties on a fourth down. 3. There was roughing the passer. There was pass interference in the end zone. Ball should have been at the 1 with a first down. And then the fucking guy took his helmet off. All 3 flags were picked up, and they
That was
just said,
ridiculous.
game over.
You can
That's
see the ref on the sideline mouthing to him, "Put your helmet back on." If you're
it's insane.
saying it, you gotta throw it. It's a penalty. It's
It's a
ridiculous.
penalty in every
Yeah,
scenario, and a lot of people are saying, well, it was a turnover on downs because there was no pass interference called, so that penalty would be assessed to the Chiefs after they get the ball. But at that point, the flag had been thrown, right? So there was pass interference. He took his helmet off. Then they picked the flag up. So that's a bit of a gray area between whether or not there was a change of possession, because in a change of possession, unsportsmanlike penalty is enforced after the change of possession, right? The change of
yeah.
possession happens, the unsportsmanlike comes in, it's assessed after the change of possession. There hadn't been a change of possession yet because there was a flag down. So I'm not sure what the rules were there, but you can't miss PI in the end zone and an obvious roughing the passer call in a league that's trying to protect the quarterbacks in a game that's coming down to it. Moral of the story, Vegas likes the Chiefs a lot. I think America likes the Chiefs a lot. That
Yeah,
was your kind of take there, is that T
yeah.
Swift has shifted the refs a little bit, and I don't disagree with it, but I think it's gotten so much attention. Can't happen 3 weeks in a row. I'm
No.
back on the Broncos. I'm back on the Broncos. I said I wouldn't do it, but I'm back on the Broncos. Short week for Kelsey, who's a little bit injured. The Chiefs
Oh,
don't look very good. And I went back through these Bronco games and I looked at them and I'm like, excluding the 50-point blowout loss, they haven't played bad football. And this is like
No, they
another one of
haven't.
those divisional shit fights where it's like 10.5 is just way too many points for me. I can't get behind it. I don't think they're that bad. So I'm loading up on the Broncos. My
I
third down.
I
Go ahead.
wanna jump in here real quick, because I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Mhm.
Um, Something that I think is interesting if we're looking at the T Swift angle of it all. Kelsey's hurt. Kelsey's
Yep.
hurt. He's got that high ankle sprain. Of course, he came back to score a touchdown because his ego can't take the blow of riding the bench. But I don't. Uh, the NFL has got to catch on at some point. Like they can't keep bailing this team out. And if
Mhm.
Kelsey is hurt, it's going to open some of those receivers wide open, no pun intended, for a fun anytime TD. I still think it's going to be a bit of a dogfight because Chiefs aren't going to go down without it. Mahomes won't allow it. Brittany Mahomes certainly won't allow it.
No.
I don't hate it, but if you're a girly girl, you're new to this podcast, you're trying to catch up, you're paying attention because of Taylor Swift, bet against her this week. Bet
Yep.
against her this week. She's not going to be there either because she's
Mm-mm.
going to be in LA for the premiere of her Taylor Swift Eras tour in theaters. So she's not going to be at that game.
No, she won't
No,
be there. She'll be
she
on her
won't be there.
private jet polluting the airways.
Yep.
It's third down. I'm going back to one of the better performances we've seen out of any receiver, although there was 3 that did it this week. DJ Moore was one of them. Chase had
Yep.
3, Kittle had 3, Moore had 3. I'm taking DJ Moore anytime touchdown. It's at plus 110 right now. It will not be there at kickoff. So if you
Yeah.
want to hop on this right now, DJ Moore anytime touchdown is an absolute lock. And I want you to look at I haven't seen prop lines out for this yet at the time of this recording. Tua over passing yards against a lowly Panthers defense is an absolute free bet. They are
Yeah.
going to get loose. And no Achine, I think is how you pronounce it. So Mozart or
Achan.
Achan or so
Yeah.
Mustard, whatever that his fucking name is going to be getting the bulk of the carries and receptions out of the backfield. And
Well,
he's not
Achan's out. He's out for the next couple weeks. He got
that's what
injured.
I'm saying.
Oh,
So
oh, oh.
so without him there, I think they lean heavily on an aerial
Mm-mm-mm.
assault. And I love Tua over passing yards. As soon as that line comes out, I'm going to pound the over. And I'm probably going to pair it in a parlay with DJ Moore anytime touchdown. So that'll be a player prop parlay. That's my third and fourth down separately, but also combined for fifth down. That's my first and Pren. We're moving on to the founder of this segment. It's Ashley Pren. Who you got first down? You got the ball. We're running. Hurry up.
First down, it kind of tails a little bit, one of your takes, but with DJ Moore, this needs to be a get right game or, a I can still do this game for the Bears.
Mhm.
Justin Jefferson, Jesus Christ. Justin Fields cemented his place in the NFL last week. And that was a must win for him personally, in my opinion. And he blew it out of the water. He defended his right to be here, but they need to keep riding that train. And with Justin Jefferson out for the Vikings, he's going to be out for a
Mhm.
couple weeks. Kirk Cousins isn't getting any help from the NFL. DJ Moore popped off last week. I think the Bears get a win over the Vikings. I think the Vikings take the season long L and realize that they just need to rebuild. Maybe they trade Kirk away because he's getting old. Um, the Vikings are not going to win this game. It's not going to happen. Moving on to second down, the Giants have
Mhm.
landed themselves on my continue to bet against list. Um, the only place where that did not help me this past week was that I accidentally took the spread at 16 and a half twice. I didn't accidentally take it at 16 and a half. I accidentally took it twice at 16 and a half. And
Mhm.
Dolphins could have kicked, could have saved my ass, and they didn't do that. However, the Giants are just absolutely abysmal. I mean,
They're really
horrible.
bad. They're
They're
really
really,
bad.
really bad. And the Bills coming off a loss in London, are pissed. They had a lot of injuries that game. They're going to be pissed off. Diggs, we saw him throwing the Microsoft on the sideline overseas. Overseas, you don't conduct yourself like that overseas. They already
Just
hate us enough
throwing
over there.
Microsoft. The whole company's getting tossed. Just
The whole
crumpled it up.
company's getting tossed.
Tossed.
I think the Giants are going to get whooped by the Bills this week. These two takes, these two downs, I think are fun to sprinkle on top of any parlay you're going to build. That's how I built out my first and pren this week.
Yep.
Easy takes that you can sprinkle into a parlay for quick money. Moving to third down.
Now this is a hot take.
What I'm about to say?
This is a hot take.
Dak Prescott is not your guy, Dallas. I'm sorry. He's not. He's just not. That was so embarrassing. I was going into that game and I was like, you know what? This might actually be a good primetime game. And I was wrong. In the post-game interviews, he said something like, it was the most humbling game I've had in a really long time. That is not the only humbling game that they've had this season. So I think it's Herbert time. I'm really
getting
impressed
shut out by the Cardinals probably should have.
Yeah. I think that would be a lot more humbling than getting shut out by an undefeated team. But to each his own. Even that statement alone, I'm like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. I like what I see from Justin Herbert. I hate what I see from their coach. But Austin Eckler is expected to play again this week. So
he's back in our lineup. He's back in our lineup.
He's back. You got that fantasy alert too.
He's back.
He's back. And I lost. I don't know about you, but my fantasy team this week, fucking bad, real bad. Didn't even break 100 points. Anyways, I like the Chargers this week, and I really don't like Dallas, and I don't think Dak Prescott is your guy. Mike McCarthy also made a statement this week of, someone asked if they were considering benching Dak, which they did. They put in Cooper Rush. And he was like, no, of course not. Our best chances of winning a Super Bowl are with Dak Prescott, which means that they don't have any chances at all.
Yeah,
so
they're out.
They're out. Moving on to fourth down. It has to happen. It's a lock. I'm tailing D's NFC take. Niners and Eagles will see another undefeated week. The AFC looks terrible. Niners and Eagles are up against opponents that they're easily going to smash. And again, I think it's an easy sprinkle to any parlay that you're building this week.
Well, I just put one together for you. It's the first and pren parlay, and it looks a lot like, well, it doesn't look a lot like it. It looks like this. It looks like Bears money line, Bills against the spread, Chargers money line, Eagles money line, Niners money line.
Wow. That actually sounds very similar to my, that's
your first and pren parlay.
Yeah, that sounds actually a lot like something that I have in tracked backs, which we'll get to next. What is the spread right now for the Bills?
I think it's somewhere around 13.5, maybe 14.5. I'll pull it up here real quickly because I can do this really fast because they've made gambling borderline too easy. But we're definitely not going to talk about that on this podcast. Give me 1 second to stall for another moment. And we are looking at, for the Bills, we've got them favored against the Giants at home, -14, -110. Don't love that line.
No.
But
not yet.
If you think they're going to get smashed, you think they're going to get smashed.
The thing with the Giants that is frustrating is that they don't do anything week over week to change. Like their coaching staff, when they were getting
they're tanking. They're tanking. They know Danny Dimes isn't their guy. They're tanking for Caleb Williams, and he straight up said, "I won't play there." So I don't know why they're doing that, but that's what they're doing. And that's, I guess, going to be what they continue to do, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me. But if we don't love that line, what I think we do instead of that is we just throw it all in a money line parlay, which is, you got a couple dogs in there. The odds should get pretty up there.
Yeah.
And if I can find Philly, which I just did, it comes in at plus 857. So that's a decent bet. Is the first and Pren parlay, money line parlay, plus 857. It's Bears, it's Chargers, it's Bills, it's Eagles, and it's 49ers at plus 857 first and Pren parlay. That is not a tracked bet. These are our tracked bets because we're getting into tracked bets for week 6 right now. Let's ping pong these things back and forth. Let's do it how we traditionally do it, which is starting with the bets with the least odds and moving up to the bets with the highest odds. My lowest odds this week, plus 300. Big teaser guy. I'm the big tease. This is a Pentagon dog 7-point teaser. That's right.
Wow.
5 underdogs, all getting points, all getting lifted above a full score. I like the Titans plus 11, the Commanders plus 9. I'm with you on the Bears plus 9.5, the Jets plus 13.5, and the Broncos plus 17.5. Will the Broncos break my heart on Thursday Night Football and leave me out of contention for most of my bets? Only time will tell.
Out of contention. I love that most of your bets are riding on the backs of the Broncos. That's
wow. And I mean,
someone
can pull audio or I guess video from, I believe it's week 3, where I say I will never bet on this football team again. And now here I am currently with my foot in my mouth. So that's my first one. It's the Pentagon dog 7-point teaser. Titans, Commanders, Bears, Jets, and Broncos. Can't stop betting on these horses, baby. Pren, what's your first tracked bet?
My first tracked bet is coming in at plus 269. This should be a lock. I've got the Miami total over. Their over right now is at 30 points.
Easy.
They're going to breeze past that. Miami total over, parlayed with Raiders money line, taking Didi's Raiders, Philly money line, plus 269. Easy money, cash it now. What's done is done.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to the Patriots, and we will in our cheat sheet. We'll definitely get there. Let's save it there. I don't even want to talk about it. It's too much. It hurts too bad, even though I kind of hate them. I'm a weird fan. We'll get to why I dislike them soon. I'm going back to a 4-way all favorites parlay. It's plus 457. Niners, Lions, Rams, Cowboys. I am against you in the Chargers game. Although I believe Dak Prescott is not the guy.
Yeah.
I do not believe in this coaching staff for the Chargers.
It is abysmal.
I think they will find a way to fuck this up. They have so much talent.
Yeah.
Eckler's back. They're at home, and they're still 2.5-point dogs. I don't know. Vegas is looking at something. Plus, George Kittle with the fuck Dallas, or Dallas sucks, or fuck Dallas, or whatever it was. That fuck shirt. Dallas. They're going to be in that locker room, and I feel like this is like a identity game for the Cowboys, because if they lose back-to-back games and to a kind of a lowly AFC non-contender, in my opinion, I know Herbert's Herbert, but this is just a team that I cannot trust. It'll be close because it's always close. I don't like the Chargers to win this game, and I've also got the Cowboys on my live alert for this exact reason. I won't be surprised if they go up early, but I'll be very surprised if the Chargers win that football game.
All right, so that's fair.
Yeah, again, that's a 4-way money line parlay. It's Niners, which should be easy. Lions will be in a dogfight, but I think they beat Baker in the butts. And then I've got the Rams in a bounce back and the Cowboys in a bounce back. Plus 457. I like it a lot. AP, tracked bet number 2.
Tracked bet number 2. I got to do that again. Tracked bet number 2. I'm jumping up. I'm going to plus 762.
Woo! Let's go, baby!
5-way parlay, which I will say I'm going to read out this bet, and then I'm going to adjust based off that take, because I don't hate what you're saying. I'm speaking in circles. I'm going to read off my bet. I've got a 5-way parlay money line.
Yep.
I've got the Bears, I've got the Jags, I've got the Dolphins, Eagles, Chargers. I will say I do not disagree with what you're saying on the Chargers. I do hate their coaching staff. In my head, it's like, what wins out? Is it the coaching staff? Is it the talent? Because they do have a disgusting amount of talent. And if they
Mhm.
can't get it together, that is just sad. But to your point, Dallas falls into this pattern I've noticed where they get blown out, they do the blowing out. They get blown out, they do the blowing
Yep.
out. And I can't imagine that playing under Jerry Jones is anything but difficult. So he's just like one of those guys that I imagine picks up the phone when he's like really, feeling himself late at
He's had
night
like
and leaves some
12
sort of
whiskeys. Yeah.
lengthy voicemail on Dak Prescott's phone. Don't let me down, Dak. Something like that. I don't know. So I,
Maybe
I
you should
don't.
be Jerry Jones for Halloween, because that was that that voice was pretty spot on. We could do a
I'll,
whole podcast
I'll
with
just
that.
do the pod from a yacht in a diaper, just
Yeah.
Jerry Jones.
Yeah. Yiper dot episode.
Diaper dot. I'm gonna
Oh,
see what the odds are
diaper
if
yacht. Why did
I.
I say Yiper dot?
No, I thought you said it on purpose. I like Yiper dot.
No, that was a mess up. But Yiper dot's not bad. Okay, moving
I'm
on. We're off the
I'm
rails
gonna
again.
I'm gonna update really quick. If you like this bet, but you like Dallas more, I want to see what the line is
Yeah,
to.
just pull them out. Just pull them
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because 762. This is kind of what we've learned on this pod is like, and we kind of already knew this. Vegas was built on parlays and favorites.
Yeah.
We know that, right? It's
Hmm.
like it's like a minus 450 team, and you say, oh, there's no way they lose, and you put your fucking mortgage on it, and they lose.
And they lose.
Or it's like, and then the next week, it's like, I need to make it all back. So you throw a fucking plus 800 parlay in there, and 3 out of or 4 hit, and you lose, right? So adjusting any of these is always an option. It's always
Yeah.
an option. Plus 762 is a big bet. It's Bears, Jags, Dolphins, Eagles, Chargers. I guess the conversation we're having now is taking that down just to Bears, Jags, Dolphins, Eagles.
Oh
And
no, adding Dallas in, swapping
it's
Dallas
just
for.
swapping those two. Just swapping
Yeah.
those two, but keeping it a money
Yeah.
line. It's not
Correct.
going to affect it too much. I think that probably brings it to like plus 700,
Yeah.
maybe plus 680 ish, right? Because
Yeah.
it's changing a plus 125 underdog for a minus 135 favorite.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't shift things too much. Now, here's one that's just going to blow everybody's mind. It's the triple dog dare you parlay. It starts on Thursday night. I said I wouldn't do it. I lied. I'm doing it. Broncos money line. Okay. Not only do I think they cover the 10.5, I think they win the game outright. I think they shocked the world in a divisional shit fight, just like we saw with the Steelers and the Ravens last week, where no one gave the Steelers a chance because they're not a very good football team, somehow still atop their division. I think the Broncos have a chance. And here's a few reasons why. I want you to go back to Russell Wilson in Seattle. Okay. Now I want you to take that Russell Wilson and transplant him to the Mile High City. I think our guy is better at sea level. I think our guy is better in a loud stadium. And what do we have in Kansas City? I mean, it's not exactly sea level, but it's definitely lower than Denver. We've got an atmosphere he's more comfortable in, and a temperature he's more comfortable in a position he's more comfortable in. And I just really like Russell Wilson in the Broncos against the Kansas City Chiefs team that doesn't really seem to get up for teams that aren't very good. We saw a close game against the Jets. We saw a close game against the Vikings. I think we'll see a close game against the Broncos, and I won't be surprised if the Broncos win this game. Broncos money line. Titans money line. Commanders money line plus 2,991. All right. Broncos, Titans, Commanders, all money lines, triple dog dare you parlay plus 2,991. I fucked that up. 2,991. That's my final bet. It's the triple dog dare you parlay. And if you tail it, you're going to be a happy camper. Mark my words, Broncos money line. Pren, number 3.
Number 3, I had a thought on that bet and now I forgot it. Oh, I don't think you're wrong about I don't think you're wrong about Russell Wilson, but I also don't think Russell Wilson is shockingly. I don't think he's the problem. So maybe this is the game. Maybe this is the game that Sean Payton gets it together, pulls out an FU win. I would like to see the Broncos win personally, but we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll tail you on it. Bet number 3, a little bit of a hodgepodge. I need to start naming my bets like you're naming your bets, but a little bit of a hodgepodge. We're going plus 875.
Hodgepodge parlay. You just named it.
Hodgepodge parlay. There it is.
It's great.
Just did it. This is why I need you around to bring out the genius in me. Plus 875. I'm going Hopkins anytime touchdown. I think he's finally getting his groove. I think him alone, it's at like plus 110, and that's not going to stay there. So DeAndre Hopkins anytime TD. I'm taking the Seahawks Cincinnati game over. The over is currently at 45. I don't think that line is going to stay there. I think it's going to go up. Taking the game over. Bills team over, which is currently at 29.5. Again, they're going to blow the brakes, to quote you, off the Giants. And, that's a easy 3-way parlay for plus 875.
It's long odds. It's absolutely long odds.
Yeah.
And those are our tracked bets for the week. Long as they may be, if you hit one of them, you're eating filet on Monday night, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Maybe you're getting surf and turf. Maybe you're throwing a lobster tail in there. I prefer the claws. Some people like the tails. Speaking of tails, you need to start tailing my live alerts because they're the only bets that are hitting. And there's actually a graphic. And once again, it saved my week because the Patriots, who could be the worst team in the NFL, go down 21-0 after a pick six with 10 minutes left in the second quarter. And the over-under balloons to 48.5 at minus 110. I said it last week. I gave you my game script. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pound this over-under if the Patriots and Saints game gets to 44.5, goes 4 points higher with 10 minutes left in the second quarter to 48.5. And I was a man of my word, and I put 10 units on it to win 10 units, right? That was to win amount. So it was 1,100 to win 1,000. I was not shook. When I saw Mac Jones, throw that pick, I said, this is the only way this bet doesn't work is if there's another strip sack fumble and another pick six, because the Saints offense is not very good and the Pats are not going to score in this football game. 3 points in 2 games, 3 points in 8 quarters of football. That is the New England Patriots this year. And I will be taking their team total and game unders moving forward for the rest of the year. They're just not very good. If Bailey Zappi gets in there, I might eat my words because that is my guy, and it is Zappy hour here in New England. But moving forward, if you tailed my live alert, you won a ton of cash. I've got a lot more this week that I really like. I'm just going to hop right into them. Lions money line. If I see that Lions money line, if I see that go to plus 150, I'm all over it. This is a Baker Mayfield and the Butts team that's coming off a bye, and I get that. But I really like the Lions. I believe that if there's another team in the NFC, like Cinderella story style, that could kind of shock some people, it might be the Detroit Lions. They've got pretty much all the pieces, really solid defense, game changers on defense on the edges, and Jared Goff looks decent. So, Amon-Ra St. Brown can take a slant to the house, decent running attack. It's just like they're a pretty well-rounded team. If Dan Campbell doesn't completely fuck it up, they should be in the playoffs and they should have a shot. And I believe that they'll have a shot in this game, and they are the comeback kids. This game will be decided by one score or less. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. I like the Lions plus 150 on the live alert if you can find them.
Bless you.
Got that out before my sneeze. Woo! Let's go, baby. With that being said, I like the Cowboys money line at plus 200 as well. Why? Because the Chargers will score, but they will blow the lead. So if you can get the Chargers at plus 200, I'm all over that. And yes, I'm going back to the well because I've got the Broncos and everything else. I might as well take them on the live alert. Kansas City scores quick. They might even go up 14-0. They might go up 10-0. They might go up 14-0. We might see a real tough start to this game, but I believe the Broncos will make it close. Give me the Broncos at plus 17.5. If I can get that around even money, I am all over it. Those are my live alerts for week 6. It's Lions money line at plus 150, Cowboys money line at plus 200, Broncos plus 17.5. And that is Didi's live alerts. AP, who you tracking live this week?
I'm flipping the Lions. Live alert on its head. I'm taking the Bucks plus 150 money line if you can take it. And I will tell you why. I was in Florida this weekend. I did some boots on the ground research.
Wow.
And I haven't seen any local Baker endorsements yet. He has not won the blue collar businessman over just yet.
Fair
Which
enough.
means that he still has something to prove. And I do agree. I think this will be a one-score game, but I think if the Bucks money line goes to plus 150, Baker's been doing well. The Bucks have been doing well. They haven't been perfect. The Lions are a better team. But that Baker grit, that Baker magic, he still needs a solid win to solidify his spot in Tampa. The wins that they've had, it really hasn't been
They've been ugly.
and it hasn't been over a team that they can't beat. And I'm not saying that they can't beat the Lions, but I don't know. If they can get this win, I think it's going to be a perspective and morale shift for the city of Tampa Bay. So I'm taking the Bucks. If you can get the money line at plus 150, I think that Baker spirit comes out. Let them bake. I think they get it done. Second
Let
live
Baker
alert.
bake.
Let Baker bake. Second live alert of the week. It's more of a notion that I'm taking into some of these games. The Pats game being one of them, but some of these games where you don't really know, who's going to win or where the line's going to fall. I'm paying attention to the momentum in the first half and the first team to score. For example, let's just pick a fun. We'll do the Pats. So the
Pats Raiders. Pats Raiders 405 game in Vegas.
So in Vegas, what I've noticed with my live betting so far this season is that you start at 0-0. The first team that scores, the spread automatically goes to 7.5. Got to win by at least one touchdown. If you're watching that Patriots game and the live alert, the spread is just 7.5, you hammer the team that scored, in this instance, the Raiders, to cover the spread. Now, this doesn't work for every game. These are for games that are going to be blowouts. Giants game is another game.
Oh, you're going the opposite way. So you're not saying take the points. You're saying lay the points. You're saying take the favorite at 7.5 or take the underdog.
Take the favorite at 7.5 to cover the spread.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because what happens is that gap is only going to grow from there. And I've done a lot of experimenting in my live betting this season. And this is the pattern that I've noticed so far, is that if you can hammer that spread right off the bat for the favorite at 7.5, chances are for some of these games where it's just going to be a blowout, they're going to cover 7.5.
This is called the trend is your friend. It was
Exactly.
my dad's strategy in roulette, where when you play roulette and there's a dealer that's just pounding a certain grouping, you want to fade the grouping because you're like, okay, well, mathematically, they're all going to even themselves out at some point, right? Because that's just what statistics will show.
Yeah.
The trend is your friend. It doesn't make a ton of sense, but it's like you're essentially saying this team not only was favored, but now is favored, and I'm not afraid of the points. So the trend is your friend. They look to be the better team. They're at home. They scored first. In order for this to go the other way, they've got to have a complete collapse.
Yeah.
And you're betting against a complete collapse. Got it.
Exactly.
Okay. Fair
Exactly.
enough.
And then what you can do is you can continue to sprinkle on top of that as the gap widens if you want. Somewhere I did this a couple weeks ago was the Browns Ravens. Hammered the spread at 7.5. It got up to 21.5, and I just kept peppering it because I knew
Mm.
that the Browns without Deshaun Watson were not going to score it. They weren't going to come back from that game. And I cashed out big on that one. So yeah, that's my live alert for this week. My live alert tip. And then we've got the Bucks money line at plus 150.
Fair enough. While we're on the topic of the Patriots, who are just abysmal, um, we didn't do a cheat sheet last week. I'm just going to do one this week. It's more of my own take, but if you are looking for something just to say in football conversation, uh, that will definitely spark a potential argument, or at least just have people engaging in some sort of back and forth dialogue, football dialogue. Bill Belichick is an average head coach without cheating and Tom Brady. And I say this because if you look at all the allegations and then you look at who's playing quarterback, best of all time, greatest of all time, without doubt. No one even
Yeah.
it's not like LeBron Michael here. It is without question greatest football player ever. Period.
Yeah.
Best ever. Several allegations of taping other teams, deflating balls, cheating across the board, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In several different areas, and the greatest player of all time. Now we've seen Bill without Tom for a pretty decent sample size. And he is an average coach without him.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my tip for anybody who wants to engage right now. It's kind of it's kind of the thing no one's talking about, especially if you're from New England, is
Yeah.
at what point are we going to start putting some pressure on Bill? And I think the answer is now. So that's your football cheat sheet quote of the week. It's Bill Belichick is an average quarterback. Bill
I
Belichick
like
is an
this.
average head coach without cheating in Tom Brady.
I like this a lot because this is something that I started to stir up in my New England household, with, two diehard Patriots fans last week. And let me tell you something, it really gets some blood boiling.
Yep.
Um, and you can even take it as far back as what is Bill's 2023 record doing to LeBron's legacy? You can pull in basketball. We've got NBA coming up. I know I've used this joke this season before, but it's too good. Um, but
You can
it's
throw
true.
that in there. You can throw
It's
that in
true.
there.
It's true. At what point does this become a Bill Belichick problem? He also this morning did say he is starting Mac Jones this week. And I don't know
Oh,
where his
damn
thought
it.
because not only that, Bailey Zappi isn't a bad option at all, but Malik Cunningham did amazing in the preseason. Throw his ass in there. Why are
He's
you
not even on
sticking?
the team. I believe he's not even on the team.
I think he's on the practice squad, but I don't think he's
Okay.
signed up
All
yet.
right.
Yeah, I think he signed back Malik Cunningham and Bailey Zappi to the practice squad in a defiant, I am sticking with Mac Jones this season move at the beginning of the season. I do think Malik Cunningham's on the practice squad. I could be wrong, but
I
yeah,
don't even know enough about the Patriots because they're not interesting enough for me to care about. I don't even know who the fucking who the options are.
what is Bill Belichick?
I feel like honestly like I could be an option at this point. Like throw me out there. Like I legitimately feel like I could throw an NFL touchdown. If you gave me enough chances, I think I could throw a TD. And if you
What
gave me
is?
if you gave me 8 quarters, I think I could throw a TD. I'm just putting that out there.
I would take that bet. I think
I
so
think I can
too.
throw a
I would
TD.
take a Devin Walker anytime touchdown, passing, not
14,
rushing. But
14 picks, 3 broken bones, 1 TD.
what is Bill Belichick's son's name again? The guy with the cutoffs, and
Uh,
he's always chewing on his
the
tongue.
mullet guy
Yeah,
with the lip clipping. I don't even know. That guy's I don't know. I know nothing about him. Except that
it's
he's
it's time.
annoying.
It's time to put him in at this point. It's
Oh,
time
throw
to
him in there.
throw
Yeah,
him in the mix. Yeah,
yeah, throw him in
yeah.
there.
That's my cheat
Um,
sheet. I don't even know his name, but that kid. It's
yeah,
time to
throw
get
that kid in there.
Belichick's son. Get his son up there.
Yeah, get his son at quarterback.
Yeah.
Speaking of quarterbacks and ones that are bad, it's time for our girl dinner bets of the week.
Tell me what to do.
And I can't even believe. So you know how sometimes you're having your coffee and you're thinking about what bets you're going to put on the Betsies podcast.
Every Wednesday.
Yeah, and then you look at your sheet, you start talking about it, and you look at your sheet, and you say to yourself, "You are potentially fucked." I'm reading this bet right now, and I'm like, I'm either a genius or a fucking idiot, and I'm gonna rock with it because my girl dinner bet of the week is going back to your toxic ex again,
Again.
and it's Broncos plus 10.5. It's Jerry Jeudy 50 plus receiving yards, Russell Wilson 2 or more TDs in the over 47.5. Now the over should be no problem. Jerry Jeudy should be absolutely no problem. The issue here is going to be Russell
Yep.
and the points. Plus
Mhm.
10.5 should be free. I've been saying it all podcast. Can Russell throw 2 touchdowns? Well, my answer is simple. All these things go together because if he doesn't throw 2 touchdowns, they don't cover the spread. And
Yeah.
the over doesn't hit. If he does, we got, you know, we got a chance here. And I'm pulling up the odds right now because I had unfortunately not published these, so Mike didn't have them to throw up there, but I've got them right here in my little situation. It's plus 600. It's plus 600 for the Broncos plus 10.5, Jerry Jeudy 50 plus receiving yards, Russell Wilson 2 or more TDs, and the over 47.5. Thursday night's a big night for me again. Last week it didn't work out. The week before it did work out. There's a trend happening. If I hit my Thursday night bet, I have a really good week.
That's
I'm
very
putting it
true
all on the
because
Broncos.
everything is riding on the Broncos.
They're in 3 of my 4 bets.
Well, you can't say you're not loyal. I'll say that much.
This looks like another hodgepodge that you've got going on here. It's kind of
Another
all over the place.
another hodgepodge parlay. This girl dinner bet is you're at the buffet, you don't know what you want, you get a little bit of everything.
Sure.
It's a 5-way, 1, 2, 3,
Yes,
4,
it is.
5-way parlay. 5-way parlay. All right, I'm taking the Eagles money line, Bills money line, San Francisco money line, Pacheco anytime touchdown, Russell Wilson passing over at 227 for
Love
plus
that.
475.
Love one of the legs of that. Love your Thursday night option. God, Russell, don't fail me now, buddy. Don't do it to me.
And if you
Broncos
want,
Nation, let's ride.
if
Come
you
on.
maybe I'll be Russell Wilson for Halloween, but like with the spoon and the hat.
Yeah.
God, that was so bad. Oh, every time they lose and that meme comes up, you can't help but laugh. It's too good. If you want to make this girl dinner bet a 3-dayer of a football weekend special, sprinkle in the Raiders money line in there. I don't know what it puts you at. It's going to put you up a little bit more, probably somewhere in the 500s, I would guess, because we're already at 475. And then you've got it. Oh no, wait, the Raiders play on Sunday.
Yeah, they play on Sunday.
Who plays on
Uh,
Monday?
the Monday night game
Oh,
is
it's Chargers,
Cowboys, Chargers. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna say
Eckler
this.
anytime touchdown probably is where I would go there. That's one that I wanted to put in, and it does play to our it plays to our fantasy teams.
Okay. All right. Let's do that. If you want to make this a 3-dayer, if you want to be dialed in from Thursday to Monday, your eyes do not leave the television screen. Sprinkle
Mhm.
in an Eckler anytime TD in there. Make it a 6-way parlay over the course of the entire weekend, and you'll have
Yep.
some fun.
3-day parlay.
3-day
Classic.
parlay.
Classic. It rhymes. It's electric.
Your last one hit.
Uh,
Your last 3-day parlay hit.
yes, it did. And
Mhm.
it's a sweat. It absolutely is a sweat. And I need to go get my sweat. I need to sweat some of this coffee out of my system. That's going to do it for us. And for the first time in the history of the Betsies podcast, we've kept it under an hour. Baby steps, baby steps. We are at the 1 hour mark. It's electric. I'm Devin Walker.
I'm Ashley Bren.
You all are outstanding. Betsy's country, let's ride.